This example will be about how to commission the CMMP drive from Festo on a Profinet network. In this case, I'm using a Siemens CPU, and this will be a S7 1200. And then on the servo, I have a CMMP ASC2 3AM3, and then the Profinet card. So I'm going to start from scratch. I'm going to create a new project. In TIA portal, and then I'll use that same folder, and then here I'm going to call it sample project, and then create it. And I'm going to go directly to the project view. I'm going to add a device, which will be the first one will be the CPU. I know I have a CPU 1212C, this model. Okay. While that is installing, I'm going to show you, because you're going to have the GSDML files. So if you go, I'm going to do this again. If you go to the Festo website, you go to support and downloads, or here in the top, and then you can type in the model of the servo drive. In this case, this is the one that I'm using, CMMP. I go to the software tab. Once I'm on the software tab, I look for the GSDML files here, Profinet GSDML, and you just download this. I already have it installed. I'm just gonna show you where you can just save this. I'm gonna show you where you install that. So go to options and then manage general station description files. Now look in the folder that you downloaded it. So in this case, I have it here. Once you select that folder, you can install it from here. Mine says that it has already been installed. So that's that. Now, once you have that GSDML file, just add another here, devices here. It's easier. So again, Profinet IO, drives, Festo, yeah, head module, and then just drag and drop. Once you've done that, make sure if you double click on here, make sure that you have this FHPP standard here. If I go back to the devices and networks, I need to assign this to my PLC. So that's assigned. Just click here and then tap on the PLC name. The next step will be to just make sure that we have you gotta make sure that we install the libraries. So you have to open library here, and then you can just open the library. In this case, it's a Festo Motion FHPP. Now, where did I get this? Same place, the website. So if you go up here and you look for Siemens, so function blocks for Siemens step 7, you can download that from here. And this is for step 7 in TIA Portal version 13 and version 14. So once you do that, options, global library, open library, then look for that and you install that library, and then you should see it here under libraries, global libraries. Should be there. It's coming there. Okay, now it's retrieving the library from where I have it. And then under master copies, we're gonna add different files here, different data types here. So let me just make sure that I have the right ones. I know that we need that one, this one, and status. And these three, we're gonna add them to PLC data types over here. Again, drag and drop. And then for the program blocks, we're gonna add POU, FHPP control, S7 1200, that's the one I'm using. I'm gonna drag that FHPP control, and then FHPP data, I'm going to add these two. Again, to add it to the program blocks, and the FPC parameter. I don't think I need anything from there, but I'm missing. Let me just first compile this. I'm missing the read and write, but I'm going to compile this and see if I'm missing anything else. it should be error-free there on the compiling. Okay, error-free. So now I add the read and write, which is these two, dprd read and dp write wr. Okay, so I add those two, and let's compile again. Should have compiled all the way on top. Okay, it looks like we are error-free again. I'll just redo that. Okay, perfect. So now I'm going to create a new Festo configuration tool setup, just so you can get a sense of what we need to look at. This is going to automatically open a project that I had. So let me just close that up. Once it opens, so I'll close that one, and then I'm going to create a new project, and then this is going to be called CMMP M3 test Profinet. Okay. Now the drive that I'm using is the CMMP AS. I'm gonna call this my access, the newest version that I have. It's loading. Now I'm going to create a new drive configuration. Now I can look at the part number there, CMMP ASC2 at 3AM3. I know that this is part number 1501325. And if you don't know the part number, you can check that on the label on your product, 1501325. Search, and then yes, I want to apply the settings. And then what do I have here? I just have the Profinet card and the switch module. I don't have a safety card in this one. Now I just have a motor without an axis, so I'm gonna add the motor. And I do know that the part number for the motor is 550110. 550110. I will put that up. And then this is this kind. This is the one that I'm using. Perfect. And now the cable length is 5 meters, the ones that I have here. Okay, next. And this is I'm not using, as I mentioned, I'm not using any axis. It's just the motor uncoupled. So I'm going to define an unlimited working stroke. Accept this, next. And that's my configuration there. Okay, so now let's go through really quickly through the settings, some of the settings. So here, first setting that I'm going to set is Profinet. That's fine. Okay, let me make this smaller. Okay, perfect. I'm not going to change anything there. I just wanted to move. Of course, if you had any specific data for your application, you can set all of this. But at this point, I just wanted to move. That's fine. Okay, I believe everything, the rest is gonna be okay, except for the field bus. So I gotta go all the way down to the field bus. This is gonna be Profinet. So base module. Okay, so let's set an IP address here. 182, and then 255, 255, 255.0. Should be good. Let me see what I had before, just to make sure I'm not gonna have a conflict there. Okay. Okay, so now I can look. I can look for my drive and see in which IP address it's currently at. Yeah, so it's currently at 182, and I can just double check that my computer is on the same. Local area connection here, IP4 address. So I'm on a 122. Perfect. Scan 182. Okay. Okay. So now we go online. It says I had a previous configuration there, so I'm gonna download my new configuration. Yes. And then store to save it on the permanent memory. And let me just make sure that I uncheck this. Perfect. So now let's go back to the TIA portal. And now here, what I can do is I can check if I have access from here to all of my devices. So what I'll do is I'm gonna scan, update accessible devices. It's updating now. There we go. Okay, so it says that my PLC1, it's at that address. I'm gonna reassign the IP addresses on these two devices. First of all, I'm gonna stop this because I believe I have a program running there. Assign IP address 120. Okay, so 120, and then for this one, I want to assign 121. Let's see if I can do it from here. 121 assign IP address. Okay, okay, it got them both. Perfect. So now, if I go ahead and I can, on my main program, now I can do my read, write, and control blocks. So I can just drag and drop again. First of all, I'm gonna call this CMMP read, and then my second block, my second network is going to be the control CMMP CTRL, and the third network is gonna be the write. So here I'm gonna do CMMP underscore CTRL. No, sorry. WRITE, write. Okay. Now, for each of this, I have to set some parameters. In this case, I'm just going to use the FHPP, which is the basic function. Just you can do homing, start, etc. Right? So, and you can read more about this on the manual. But I have to set an address to where it is going to point that to. So, if I go back to devices and networks, I can double click in here, and then I need to check under properties, I need to check the FHPP standard system constants, but I need to select it and then go to properties, and then here I see the 277 hardware identifier. So that's going to be the number I'm going to use here, 277. That's good. And then the device type, it's a CMMP underscore AS. Nothing there. I'm going to create a new reference, and this can be temporary here. I'm going to call it CMMP underscore ref. And then for this, I'm going to use the data type that we imported from the library, which is going to be DTFML ref. Okay. So I'm going to use that one here, CMMP ref. And that same reference goes for the 3 blocks. Ref. Okay. CMMP ref. Perfect. Now the write also has the same address 277 as in this one. You don't have to set a device type here. So now I believe we're ready to test our program. So we hit download, and then it's going to ask for the where am I going to download to? I should see the PLC with the address that I set. So I load that. And maybe I'm missing something. I'm missing the watch list. So I'm not sure if I added that. We'll confirm that in a minute here. I'll cancel this just to make sure that I have that watch list. No, I don't have it. So I'm going to drag and drop from the libraries. Close this, close this. Watch table, FHPP control, and then FHPP CTRL. Watch. And there we go. Now, if you go in here, you're gonna see that the name, because I changed the name, it is supposed to be called FHPP underscore CTRL underscore DB. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just just rename this, yeah, the one that I created, rename it to FHPP underscore CTRL underscore DB, and then bring it back to the name that I want. So it'll find those variables and it'll be okay. And then bring it back to CMMP and the one that I want, which is CTRL. And it'll change the names here on the watch table. Okay, so now it seems like we're good to go. Start search. This one, load. And now I should be able to load the watch table as well. Load. Load. Okay, and then finish. Okay, I want to go back to the main and just check this. I'm gonna start my, oh, I'm gonna go online just to see, should we stop now? Yeah, so I start my CPU and then I wanna monitor this. Okay, so the function blocks are green, green, and green. So if I go to my watch table, FHPP control, I should be able to see some feedback here. So when I monitor, I see that there's supply voltage present, there's MC, which is motion complete, humming valid. So if I go back to Festo configuration tool, test Profinet, and I go here, there's a tab here that's named FHPP monitor, and from here you can see what we're receiving and sending. So message from PLC, this will be what the PLC is sending, and this is what the servo drive is sending to the PLC. So we can see the 3 bits that I just mentioned before. So we'll go back here, and now let's enable the drive. So for that, I need to set this to true, which is the stop, halt, and then the enable afterwards, but I'm gonna show you here. I should be getting messages. Okay, stop, halt, and then the enable. Right now I'm not enabled, so I'll enable here, and I do hear the servo drive engaged now, so it's enabled. Now if I go to operate here, I see the target, the actual position, which is 13 to 20, 220. Now if we look at this actual position here, it doesn't make sense, right? Because we have to change the factor group on the Festo configuration tool, and that's under field bus factor group, and we have to use here depending on the decimals that you want. I'm gonna leave it like that, and we'll see the data that we get. So I'm gonna download that and then store it. After I store it, I'll remove the FCT checkmark here, and we should be here. It's updated now, 132, which means 13.2, right? If I wanted more decimals, I just play with this exponent position. Okay, so it looks like it's working. Let me home it from, I'll home it from here. So start homing, true, it's turning now. And then I have a limit switch here. Okay, so it's back at 0. Now, if I wanted to send it to, let's say a position, let's say 20 revolutions, I will go and, well, first of all, I have to turn this back to false. And then I will go to, first of all, I need, you can read all of the procedure here, but I'm gonna show you quickly. I'm gonna set a 1 here on the OPM, and this should be 1, which is direct mode. And then under here, I have the set value position. So I'm going to set a 200 for 20 revolutions. And I'll write this. And oh, right now it's moving at, oh, this is set value velocity. Okay. So I'm going to abort that. Actually, halt to cancel that. Yeah, this was velocity. So I'm going to set the velocity to 100. This is in percent. And the problem that I have here is that I already have some values. Record number, I'm not using that. No. Set this to false. Okay. Okay, let's do this again. So right now I'm at 46.6 revolutions. Yeah. So I'm gonna send it back to 20. And what I'll do is, first of all, that, which is 100%, write that, and then send it to 200 there. And then now I can start the task. It's moving, it's gonna reach 200 and it'll stop. 200, which is 20 revolutions. Perfect. So it's working now. I do have communications. Now the next exercise here, it's I just want to show you how to use an external encoder to synchronize, to do a synchronization using the external encoder. So what I'm gonna do is the external encoder, the drive, the servo drive, the Festo motor, servo motor is gonna follow an external encoder. For this, I go back here to application data, application data, and then operating mode settings. I'm gonna set this synchronization X10 slave and flying saw, and I already have an external encoder connected to my X10 port on the CMMP. So I'll set that, and then the only other thing that I have to do is I have to configure my X10 port. So in this case, I do know that the encoder type that I'm using is an AB quadrature, and the ratio I'm going to leave it at 1 to 1. And the line count, I can read here the label on the encoder, and it's a 100 line count. And then I'm going to use this option, suppress zero pulse. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to download again. Yes. And it says here that changing these settings requires download, store, and restart controller. So let's do that just to avoid any problems. So component, online, restart controller, okay. It's restarting. And the Profinet communication should pick up automatically. There we go, okay. So now let's see if I'm actually getting any readings from that encoder. And what I can do here is on this operate tab on the bottom, I can change any of this dynamic data. For example, I'm gonna remove this DC bus voltage. I can remove that one, and I'm gonna replace it with so this one, and I'm gonna replace it with X10 counter reading. So okay, and now I see that counter reading there. Now I'm gonna move manually my external encoder, and yep, I see a signal there. So that's perfect. Good. So now how do I use this? So it says that my actual position is minus 0.485. Let's make that 0 using the home, right? So go back to the watch table here. And then because we left this true, we can set that to false. Start homing. It's turning, it's looking for that external switch. I flip it. Okay, so it should be 0 now. I confirm here the actual position is 0. If I go back here, I see that the actual position is in fact 0. Now, if I start turning, the actual encoder, it doesn't do anything, right? Because it's not engaged. The gear is not engaged. The electronic gear is not engaged. So I go back to the TIA portal, and what do I have to do to engage that here? So what I have to make sure that I'm on the OPM 1, which is direct mode, and then I have to set this function number to 1. Okay, 1. And then I'm gonna have to execute the function. Now, the next step will be just to start the task. And what this is going to do is the servo drive is not going to move. So look at the actual position here is still 0. I'm going to make this true. It's still 0. But now I'm going to manually turn the external encoder. It starts to move, right? And I'm manually moving the external encoder. So if I do it faster, it goes faster. Okay, go backward. So now it is following the external encoder. If I go back to Festo configuration tool, I can see that too here. So yeah, there 13.25 and 7. So it's going. Now let's see if it is at a 1-to-1. Should be at a 1-to-1. Let me bring this to 0. The external. Okay, almost there. We'll leave it close to 0. That's fine. Oh, perfect. Okay, I'm gonna home again. So I'll do this start task. I'll stop it, and then I'll home it. It's moving. Okay, limit switch is 0. Okay, now let's start synchronization again. Let's see if it goes with the external encoder. Okay, yeah, so it's following. So if I make one turn here on the external, or not one turn, I'm sorry, I made already 6.025. I have actual position on the servo drive 6.025. And this is because the ratio is 1-to-1 right now. So that's the way you could use an external encoder. And of course, there's more to it, like the pin out for the extend port and etc. But you can get all of that on the manual. Now, see here. If I want to disengage, I just make the execute function false, and it's disengaged again. If I want to start it again, I have to make this go from false to true, and it starts. Now, if I make this false, doesn't matter, it keeps going until I make the execute function false. So it's turning now, make it false, and it stops turning. Right, so those are the two things that I wanted to show you today. Post any comments or questions that you might have. You can post them on the comments below, and that's about it. Thank you.